Ladies and gentlemen, gentlemanly ladies and lady gentlemen, On This Week's On the Rocks Pride Month continues with the drag icon Jackie Beat. Oh, wait, we got Sherry Vine. Sherry Vine is here with guest co-host, the patron saint of men's underwear himself, Andrew Christian, and me, your favorite host with the sassy most. Raise a glass and let the drinks begin.
Thank you for being
Boulevard.
Life is a banquet, and most poor suckers are starving to death.
I'd like to propose a toast.
This is On the Rocks with Alexander, where I drink with your favorite celebrities as we talk about fashion, entertainment, pop culture, reality TV, and, well, that's about it. So pop a cork, lean back, and raise a glass to On the Rocks.
Fasten your seatbelts. It's going to be a bumpy night.
Lord have mercy. Buns and bows and pantyhose On the Rocks podcast, a place where we're too glam to give a damn. Hey, folks, Kid Rock stated he's not a homophobe, even if he uses homophobic language. Okay, bro, just because you're not a celebrity but you still use celebrity language doesn't mean the same thing. Did they interview him during his, shift at Subway, by the way? Who's talking to Kid Rock anymore? P.S. L.A., masks are off, girl. Some of you need to run, not walk to the dermatologist. Nah, just kidding. You're all beautiful. I'll still be wearing my mask, though, because I haven't remembered how to fake smile anymore. All right. All right, if you are in the SoCal area, I will be appearing at Oscars downtown in Palm Springs on June 24th at 7 p.m. for an evening on the lanai, remembering the Golden Girls. We sold out for our first show, so they brought us back. It's a viewing party. It's a sing-along. It's trivia with really fantastic prizes, by the way, and a Q&A with Season 1 writer Stan Zimmerman. I don't want to promise anything, but at our first show, 2 people got laid after the show. So there's that. Go to OscarsPalmSprings.com for your tickets. Like us on Twitter and Instagram at On The Rocks On Air, and on Facebook, On The Rocks Radio Show. Send me an email. Book me for a wedding, funeral, quinceañera bris, or Season 2 of the Sherry Vine Variety Show. I'll be there. Info at OnTheRocksRadioShow.com. The show is presented by Straw Hut Media. You can watch our over 250 episodes for free at OnTheRocksRadioShow.com. Hello to our listeners around the nation on every major podcast platform, on Facebook Watch, and on Apple TV, Roku, and Amazon Fire TV, on the Outat.tv app. Share, subscribe, leave a comment, leave your phone number. I'm single. Even if you're not single, leave your phone number. I'll call. Kurt.
Yes.
It's with mixed emotions. This is usually my least favorite part of the show, but we have to give straight people a voice, right?
Yes. Yeah. We don't have enough of it.
Yeah, Kurt has been with me since day one of On the Rocks, many moons ago at a different studio where we had shitty guests. Well, we actually had peeing guests because we had a guest that peed her pants during the show. And Kurt has been there through the ups and downs. This is Kurt's last broadcast with us.
Yeah.
So I'm very sad.
Your show is going to do amazing, though.
It already has, though.
Yeah, okay.
Thanks for paying attention. No, but honestly, Kurt, you have been part of our family. You still are part of our family. But you're going to go have a baby or something like that.
Something like that.
Well,
another child.
We wish you
or a child, I should say.
So your dad jokes are actually going to be something in.
Yeah, right.
All right, so
I knew I was doing it for a reason.
For the very last time, let's present. Kurt, do you have a pun for us today?
I do.
I'm so sorry. I just want to apologize.
This one's more directed at you, Alexander. I wanted to know if you were a light bulb.
Because I'm always turned on?
Because you light up my life.
Oh. I liked, because I would have liked because you're always turned on more, but okay. That was sweet,
tomato.
Yeah, all right. Thank you, Kurt. We will miss you. But you're going to come back and guest co-host one of these times.
Yes, I am.
When we do a story about nerds that play Dungeons and Dragons.
I can bring the whole crew if you want.
And dress like Ellen DeGeneres. Yeah.
On the podcast.
We
can
play
a game. Yeah.
Can't wait. Watch out for that one. Kurt's Pun is brought to you by our presenting sponsor, JustFor.Fans. You'll have more fun over at JustFor.Fans than you will have listening to Kurt's Puns. We've all been a little lonely during COVID, so we need some socially distant adult time. That's for JustFor.Fans. Sign up for your free account today. They also give back to the community. Okay, let me welcome back my guest co-host today. No stranger to On the Rocks, just a stranger to rehab. Andrew Christian, since 1997, by the way.
Jesus.
I know, right? You should change that date, by the way. Andrew Christian is not only an iconic company, but the company's also backed by a real designer. And as a designer, he has completely changed the men's underwear, swimwear, and apparel industry with his innovative technologies, fit, and original designs. The sky is the limit for Andrew, having explored a wide variety of interests, including the newest branch of Andrew Christian that has saved me by being on the air from my one-night stands, from a night out at the club. Andrew Christian skincare is literally the go-to pack to take with you everywhere you want to go. Also, as an LGBTQ activist with a passion for enriching our community, he has introduced the Trophy Boy Card VIP. Also, they just released the 2021 card. Where's mine, by the way?
Gee, I forgot.
Holographic, bringing together our LGBTQ community and partners around the world. Andrew has been featured on Good Morning America, ABC World News with Diane Sawyer, MSNBC's Hardball, the Janice Dickinson Modeling Agency, several times as the official sponsor of the Pit Crew on RuPaul's Drag Race, and Bravo's reality TV show, Millionaire Matchmaker, hosted by Patty Stanger. And we talked about you when she was on the show, by the way. She still thinks she can set you up. And I'm like, girl, he's good. He's good. Please welcome back AC.
Might I add?
Please add.
Rehab is for quitters.
Thank you. So can I tell a true funny story? I love Palm Springs. I'm in Palm Springs all the time. Betty Ford is in Palm Springs. Liza Minnelli had a stint at Betty Ford, and it was all over the news. So my ex at the time and I didn't want her to quit, so we brought bottles of champagne. We parked in the parking lot, and we were screaming, Liza, we're here! Come out! We're here for you! Security was called, so we went to the Sonics across the street and had tater tots and champagne. That was for you, Liza. True
Sounds
story.
Lovely.
It was lovely. That's what you can get away with in Palm Springs, though. It's like everybody's welcome.
That's like
sober, not
that's
sober.
like a sommelier pairing, the champagne and the tater tots.
Tater tots. Except they're called tater. Tater. That was a bad joke. Okay, thank you, Sherry Vine, though, for pretending to laugh. He was like, oh, God, okay. So things are opening back up. Are you guys scrambling to start your very infamous events around the nation?
They're slowly, starting up again.
There's no slow about it, girl.
Prides are starting to happen now, and...
But they're everywhere, all of a sudden, and
everywhere.
I'm sure, Sherry, you're getting all these, pride here, come here, do this, and it's like, my mom had pride, in her living room. I was like, I wasn't even invited. But that's a lot for you. I mean, you guys, as a company, got comfortable with handling business during COVID, during your fun videos on andrewchristian.com, and now it's like, okay, now we got to go back to live stuff.
Now we got to go back onto the road.
Are you nervous about getting everybody back on the road?
A little bit. I kind of got used to staying home.
Yeah.
Not traveling and...
Well, and your models, too. They need to be coached on how to behave again. Do you know what your first big event is going to be?
I don't.
No? Probably something with your new trophy boy, Lucas Leon.
Lucas Leon. He was lovely last time, though, wasn't he?
He's such a sweetheart. You expect this big, brawny guy to be like, I'm an Andrew Christian model. And he was like, hey, girl, woohoo.
The voice, right?
Yeah, the voice. People actually asked if we dubbed his voice over. No.
People love him, though. People love him.
Everybody loves him.
That's just him. That's how he is.
That is him. We saw pictures of all your models this last weekend, Mr. Andrew Christian, at a pool party. Kurt, I think you have one of those pictures. There we go. This was just this last weekend. All of your models are there. The ones that we love and the ones we will grow to love. Now, what is happening at one of your pool parties? Are the models getting super drunk? Are they fooling around with each other? Are they fighting?
They were actually very well behaved, believe it or not, and left at a respectable hour. So
there's no fighting?
With this group, no. This was like a good
Corey
group.
Z wasn't there.
Corey Z wasn't there. Some other models that are no longer with me weren't there.
This does seem like a very positive group, but are they drinking too much?
No. Well, not at my house. They're not.
Oh, and they go out after.
Well, yeah, they went out after, and I stayed home.
So I've actually been to one of your parties. It was a 4th of July party. It was so not what I expected. I thought there was going to be selfie, orgy, drunk. And it was such a down-to-earth party. It was just like people hanging out.
Yeah,
so
it is
I had
like
to leave.
that.
I was like, it's not
You're
for me.
over it.
No, I'm just kidding. But it was such a positive experience for me because I was like, oh, this is what the family is like.
Yeah. I mean, once you're in the group, you really are like family.
That is true. and all are welcome. Now, how do you, because I see that you hang out with a lot of your models, like you have dinner with them when you travel, you do become a family. How do you keep that friendship separate from business? Because sometimes you have to be like, we're at a photo shoot, we're at a video shoot, act like a professional, you're out at an appearance.
I just pull him aside. I'm the dad. I just pull him aside and tell him how it is. Like, you can't do this. If you do this, you're out.
Have you ever come to the point, it's like, you know what, we're past the point of no return, I have to let you go?
Yeah.
Do you still stay friends with them after?
I try to.
That's got
some I do and some I don't, you know?
We know which one's better. I keep track. Topher. What is your coming out story? We're sharing all of our stories during Pride Month, so what is your coming out story?
Oh, God. My coming out story was like so anticlimactic.
But I love that. I love to hear all these kinds of stories.
So I was dating this guy, my first kind of like real boyfriend.
What was his name?
Oh, Jesus. I don't even remember.
Doesn't even remember his name. So
Craig.
memorable.
His name was Craig.
Was his last name List? Craig's List. Oh, never mind. Thank you, straight boy.
And so he was going to meet my mother, and I'm like, so right before she met him, I'm like, Mom, I'm gay. And she's like, I know. I've known since you were 3. I'm like, well, thanks for telling me. You could have saved me a lot of problems.
What I love about that story, too, is that, you know, the acceptance, but you also had a very unique personality, and like that's how your design started. Like, you started designing clothes because you couldn't afford all the big name labels. You know, and during Pride campaign, all of like the major fashion labels are all Pride. It's like, we have to buy that label. It's like, no, you don't. You can be yourself and make a world for yourself with your own unique personality. It's going to be okay.
Definitely. I mean, if I hadn't grown up in that way, I wouldn't be who I am today.
Okay, so let's spill the tea a little bit, because my mom is very supportive. She's done stuff with PFLAG. She's at the marches. She's
I love that.
Very supportive. But then when it comes time talking about sexy stuff, she's like, oh. What you do is very sexy. Your job is very sexy. How's your family regarding that? Do they see some of your campaigns and be like, oh, mijo? I just added that accent. By
Actually, my mother has a copy of Sex, Power, Freedom on her coffee table.
My mom puts her computer on it for her Zoom things. Yeah. Okay. So that's good.
Yeah.
Does she ever tell you, hey, that was too much?
No.
I love it.
She's very accepting.
We need your mom to hang out with my mom so my mom can become
Exactly.
like a free woman. All right. Well, we have drag icon Sherry Vine here today. And Andrew, you have a little history with Sherry, so we're going to talk all about it. When we come back, it's all Sherry Vine. And we are back. Do you see how that works? It's so quick. Sherry Vine, with almost 30 years under her sequin belt, she has earned the title of drag legend. She tours around the world with her all-live singing hilarious comedy shows, is the star and writer of her own variety show, The Sherry Vine Variety Show. What a witty title. It's so witty. It's now on Out TV on the Apple TV channel, and I binge-watched all the episodes. Didn't episode 4 come out? No, I did, girl. Yeah, we're gonna talk about Bianca's performance. She can be seen in numerous movies and TV shows. She's a founding member of Theater Couture and is the OG queen of YouTube, where her video parodies have been viewed over 19 million times, almost as many times as her Grindr profile. Almost. She resides in LA, thank you, Jesus, where she can be seen as Blanche in Golden Girls Live, and that's Golden Girls with a Z, not Golden Girls with an S, because Golden Girls with an S goes with BFF Jackie Beat, living the showgirl life. Please welcome Sherry Vine.
Hi! Oh, what a gorgeous introduction. Thank you.
So I have to know, first things first, and you look gorgeous, by the way. Like, you're just radiant.
Honey, Kurt lit me perfectly. It's like, okay, I could say I've been doing this for 4 years, and I'm only 34, instead of I've been doing it for 30 years.
That is a testament. We're going to talk about the legacy that you have created, that you're part of. We know that 30 years in drag is like 500 years in like Earth time, because so much has changed.
I think 30 years, if you can make a living doing anything for 30 years, it's like cheers, you know?
Well, I applaud anybody that sticks with a career, that does their job 30 years. But it is a little different pushing papers for 30 years and then having to be at the top of your entertainment game for 30 years. Especially we know our LGBTQ audiences and beyond, we're very hungry people. We're also very mean people at times. And so that's a full-time job, is just keeping ahead of everything.
Well, I think the thing was we didn't have a backup plan. It was this or nothing
my God.
else.
I say that in my show all the time when I'm trying to hawk merchandise. I'm like, you guys, I know you paid for tickets, you're buying drinks, you're tipping, but I've been doing this for 30 years and there's no plan B. Okay? I have nothing to fall back on. I have no other skills. I will die with a wig on my head, buy a fucking shirt.
Okay, you better copyright this or whatever. You and Jackie Beat need to do the Simple Life where you guys go apply for real jobs and work at real jobs. Like, how hilarious.
Oh, my God.
Like,
But I've
go
already
apply at the
done
library
that.
at Burger
I mean,
King.
I have already done that. I mean, I was a waiter for years. I worked in coffee shops. I've worked retail all through high school. I worked in a shoe repair shop. Was my first job when I was 14, honey. I could fucking resole and heel your shoes.
Well, that's something that you need to learn. That should be a challenge on Drag Race, by the way. Is
Yes.
Fix
Right?
your shoes.
Fix my shoes.
Well, first fix your face and then fix your shoes.
So yeah, I've done all that.
And we're really going to delve into your career. A lot of the interviews you give are very fun, and they talk about you being sassy and all this. We like to know, like, the guts of what's going on, who made you who. But before we get to that, I need to know how you guys both know each other, because you are very friendly. You're friends. There's some stories. What was the first meeting?
I think we met, was it 10 years ago or 7 years ago on an Atlantis cruise?
Well, we met. Did we meet on the Atlantis cruise? Or did we meet? We were both judging this Stoli contest in New York City
That
with
makes
Patrick.
No, that was after,
That was
because
after.
I
Oh,
introduced
okay,
you to
okay.
Patrick. From
Oh, you
Story.
did?
Yeah.
Okay. I remember we met and we were friendly. But what happened was, and I hate to be like, we were in Malta, but we were in Malta working on a gay cruise. And for whatever, I don't remember what happened exactly, but for some reason you were alone and I was alone walking around Malta. And we were like, let's walk around together. And we spent the entire day together. We went to these gardens and had gelato. And we really kind of like bonded. We were just laughing so much. And I was like, oh my God, I liked him. But now it's like, now I love him.
Yeah.
And I think that a lot of people don't really get to see the man behind the curtain. Because and I'm not just saying this because here, but he's just a dear. And when we were doing the Tuckbusters video, which is like a parody of Ghostbusters,
Yes.
and we were like, oh, we need last minute, we need like some go-go dance, some hot, sexy men. And I just texted, I was like, do you think you could help me find Well, honey, all of a sudden like 10 guys showed up with the bags of the underwear. And yeah, he's just a sweetheart.
Well, I tell you, the company and Andrew support so many causes as much as they can. Everybody asks them for stuff, by the way, but that is very sweet. And that was my first experience with you. We were co-hosting something for like Long Beach Pride or something, and you said, let's meet for dinner before. And I was like, oh, dinner with Andrew Christian, that means there's going to be like boys here and all that. And we sat in the corner of a restaurant and we had like a real conversation. I'm
Yeah,
like, oh,
that
he's
was
a real
nice.
person. It was nice.
Yeah.
And then we got effed up, but that's another story.
Well, we've gone to
That was
dinner.
at the Silver Fox.
Because the event we were at sucked. So we're like, bye. We went to Silver Fox and we owned that place.
We created an event.
We did. We actually did. We're like, we're going to do this now.
I have not been to a pool party, though.
Oh.
I was only asked that once because I was somebody's +1. I have never been asked as Alexander.
No, we've done lunch together. We go to dinner. He's very supportive, comes to all the shows. The last time we saw each other was in Puerto Vallarta. I was performing. It was like the last live show I did before Corona, and Andrew was there, and we had so much fun.
You were like one of the last people I saw before lockdown.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Tel Aviv. We've been around the world together.
Yeah, we've been to Tel Aviv together. What I really loved is when we used to do the gay cruises together, and when the gay cruises are in port, usually all the entertainers just stay on the boat and just hang out and relax by the pool.
That's the only
and-
quiet time
Yeah.
you get.
No, honey. I'm like the what I love about working for Atlantis is, I mean, I love the performing on the boat because people are like trapped and they're not on their phones. Like they're not on their fucking phones. It's so nice to have this like captive audience and they just want to have fun and laugh. So it's gorgeous. But then I'm like, I'm getting paid to be on this cruise, to see the world, and I only have to work 3 or 4 nights a week, the whole trip. So yeah, I'm there. I'm like, honey, I want to get off that boat and see everything. You know, we go to the beaches or whatever. yeah.
Okay,
I love it.
You must have some crazy story though together, some fun, crazy. It can't be all like cribbage and Pinot Grigio.
No, he's he's
know if we
probably
have
right. We're
any-
kind of like very parental. You know, I went to this rooftop party that he was throwing in Tel Aviv. It was a rooftop pool party. And some friends of mine were like, we want to go, because they were, thinking orgies and all this. And I was like, I don't think it's going to be like that. And it wasn't. I mean, we had a gorgeous time, but it wasn't like debauchery. Now, on the cruises, it can get a little crazy.
It is a little crazy.
Well, they always have like that one deck that like after hours.
Yeah,
it's
deck
like the
13.
red
Poop deck.
or
Yeah.
it's
Or
and
also known as Animal Planet.
we did a cruise for Vakaya, and it was the basketball court because like no gays are playing sports, so like that was the only thing that they were doing. Sherry, you performed all over the world. Have you ever been fearful? In some, can you talk a little bit
Yes.
about that? Because we think about drag queen is on this cruise and it's fun and all that, and we talked a little bit about that. Earlier with Ravi, the world traveler, and it's not just that you guys are having and hosting parties around the globe, but you're also promoting the LGBTQ brand, so to speak,
Yeah.
and having that conversation, and you're kind of taking that danger on behalf of all of us.
This story just came up because we were talking about Pride, and someone was asking me, how do you feel about, Coca-Cola and Starbucks and all these big, that seems to be a topic of conversation right now.
That's our hot topic for today.
Okay, so I'm going to put
Yes.
that pin in that. I was performing at Warsaw Pride in Poland. It was probably like 6-7 years ago. And it was during the day, it was the parade, and my friend Gloria Viagra, who's this queen in Berlin, was like, let's go to the parade. I was like, okay, we're not in drag, out of drag. Started to walk over, and I was like, no fucking way. I mean, it was like skinheads and police in riot gear protecting the people. And I was like, no, I'm going back to the hotel. And she's like, no, this is the point of the parade. This is what it's about. It's not about just partying. This is really important. I was like, you're absolutely right. And I was terrified. They were throwing Molotov cocktails at us. I sincerely was in fear of being hurt. But I was like, you're absolutely right. This is what it's fucking about. We need to be doing this. So,
Well, and on behalf of our community here in our bubble in West Hollywood, I appreciate that. Sometimes, and I think what COVID did for our last Pride, we had to stay home and learn about our history and kind of be a little bit more reflective about Pride. And I think we learned that how important that kind of activism is. And I think there's a younger generation that now appreciates that a little bit.
yes. And I say yes to so many shows in places like Estonia, in Croatia, in Serbia, where we can, if you're in Europe, we can fly you here and pay for the hotel, but we can only pay $150, whatever. I'm like, I'm fucking there. I mean, one, I would love to see, I want to see Zagreb and I want to perform there. And two, it's like they're one gay bar. It's really important. And so,
That's true.
and for them, it's a big deal that just some queen that maybe they've seen on YouTube or whatever is here performing. I've performed in Estonia like 5 or 6 times, and it's obviously not about the money. It's like, okay, well, I'm here in Europe, and let's go do a show in Estonia.
When is your memoir coming out? That's what I want to know.
It'll come out when I'm in 20 years.
What I love about the Sherry Vine Variety Show is that there's that moment at the end of the show where you sit down with your guest of the week and we get to see you relax. You're like, we just had this funny show and now we're going to relax and tell stories from real life. I love that part of the show.
Thank you.
Because it's like we get a little
I do
peek.
too, and I have to say, the guests on this first season are my dearest friends, and we're filming in November. It was locked down. There were very strict Corona guidelines. We're only allowed to have 8 people, including cast and crew at a time. So I was like, I need to make this as fun and easy as possible. I'm working with my dearest friends. And luckily, some of them happen to be the most famous drag queens in the world. But it was really about working with my dear friends. Varla actually used her own miles to get a ticket to come out to participate.
Middle class.
Middle C. Middle C.
Middle C, middle class.
But that's because I called Varla and I was like, "Oh, are you by any chance going to be out here? Because I want you on the show." She's like, "Sherry, I'll be there." So that's a sister. And Peppermint also.
Yeah.
They're the only ones that came in from out of town. And, Peppermint's one of my dearest friends. And
We
I was
love
like,
Peppermint.
"You have to be in this." She's like, "Bitch, I'll be there."
I love that.
Yeah. Your book is in one of the episodes.
Oh.
I loved when you pulled Frank DeCaro's drag book. I thought that was
Totally,
so
that's
funny. You're like, my page.
I was like, well, I'm pretty sure Frank and Andrew won't sue me, so I'm going to use their books as props.
I've used your book for so many different ways.
I'm sure.
Research all. So Cher, we know about your career, but I want to know, like, what kind of kid you were growing up. You were born in Florida, raised in Maryland. Were you shy? Were you always precocious?
No. It was horrible most of the time. I was so tortured, bullied. It was really bad. I know it's a sissy, so there was no, hiding it. There was just no hiding it. I was just like, why are they calling me gay? Yeah, it was horrible. I mean, I had a great life at home, but from 8 to 4, whatever it was we were in school, it was hell. And I don't even know. I look back sometimes, I'm like, how did I even get through? How did I get through that? I never said anything to my parents. They would have yanked me out in a minute. And I don't know why. I think maybe something in my head was like, well, I'd have to admit to them something. But it was just so, I don't know what was going on in my head of why I didn't say anything. But it was horrible. And I just created this fantasy world, like this bubble where I was accepting I've got my Oscar speech down because I just escaped into this little fantasy bubble. Sometimes the teacher would come over and be like, hello. And I wasn't asleep. I was just like daydreaming. I was gone.
I think for a lot of us, the entertainment world and our fantasies really saved us from a lot, and that's what we engrossed ourselves. And I know the Sherry Vine variety show is really an homage to the variety shows, Sonny and Cher, the Bette Midler variety show, Carol Burnett. It really captures that essence because I'm sure that was an escape. I used to love coming home and watching the reruns of Love Boat and Chips and Charlie's Angels, and the Monkees was I thought the Monkees had come out before the Beatles, so I thought, the Beatles are copycats. But I couldn't wait to go home and feel the safety of that, and that was my family.
Yeah, for sure.
Did your sense of humor kind of evolve from that? Did you kind of use it as a defense mechanism towards these bullies?
Oh, for sure. Well, not so much towards the bullies. What I discovered in high school finally was if I can be friends with the girlfriends of these guys, the quote unquote popular girls or whatever.
Yep.
Then that gave me wasn't in fear of getting hurt anymore. I mean, they weren't going to be friends with me, but they were going to leave me alone. And so, yeah, I became friends with these girls. And I had a group of friends. We called ourselves, we were literally like the island of misfit toys. And they were like 5 that I'm still friends with. And we just kind of yeah, it was weird. I was also I was such a goody-goody. Like, I never, ever cut school once, ever in my life. So I was like a goody-goody who didn't want to miss school, but knowing that school was hell. So it was weird. I'm not sure how
That's
honestly, I don't know how I got through that.
Yeah.
And the odd thing was the 3 months between graduating high school and starting college, because at first I was like, I'm not going to choose to go to have more of this brutality. Yeah. And my parents were just very adamant about going to college. My dad was like, well, here are your choices. You can live at home and I'll pay for you to go to college, or you're on your own. And I was like, well, maybe I'll try college. And I was terrified. I thought it was going to be the same thing, but it was the complete opposite. And I'm like, in the course of 3 months, everything about me that people wanted to hurt me for was now 3 months later being celebrated. So it was so weird. And then that's when I kind of blossomed.
What did you study in college? Was it like theater?
Theater. Oh, theater.
Yeah.
There was no plan. Like I said, there was no plan B. I was going to be That's all I've ever done. All. I mean, I remember playing Little League baseball, and my dad was so excited and happy, and he was always there at every game and every practice, and he was driving me home one day, and he's like, you don't look like you're having fun. And I'm like, He's like, are you having fun? I was like, no. And he's like, don't do this for me. He's like, what would you like to do? And I was like, tap. He was like, okay. And to my dad's credit, and the next day he found me a tap class, and that was it.
I love that. I mean, that's supportive.
I mean, I think we can all relate. We've all like had experiences like that growing up, and I remember like not wanting to go to school, just crying because I was teased so much. Yeah.
I was raised by a single mom, and so she was, she was so afraid that she
Same as
didn't
me.
have. So she was so like, he doesn't have a father figure. So, let's do the soccer league. And I was so miserable, and I was just not good at it. And then we would have fun like after this, like having pizza or whatever. And she's like, this is just not for you. But she tried to do what she thought was right, and it was tough, but it was theater then.
I was blessed to have my parents. They were just so cool. I mean, I don't know what was holding me. I think it was me. I didn't like come out as like I am gay until I was 19. But obviously I was. I mean, there was no question about it. But I don't know what that was just my journey. So I didn't even have like, anything to retaliate against these abusers. If I had just been like, yeah, I'm gay, so what? Then it would have taken the air out of their bubble, and that would have been it.
Yeah.
But I was fighting it, and I didn't say anything to my parents. I don't know, it was whatever.
Well, we didn't have the representation on TV. We didn't have the language to even know what these feelings were.
Right.
I was raised in a Catholic school, so of course we didn't have that kind of language. We just didn't know what we were dealing with.
Right.
I mean, the only like reach I had to gay culture growing up was Madonna. That was gay culture for me.
Yeah, remember when she'd have her sexy videos? We knew who we were looking at.
Well, I'm probably older than you guys because Madonna was like my gaga, but I was definitely old. I was already out when Madonna came onto the scene. But yeah, in the late 70s, there was nothing like that. I remember my aunt took me and my sister, who's 2 years younger than me, to the movies, and the movie we wanted to see wasn't playing, or we were late or something. So she's like, well, let's just go see this. It was Cruising.
Oh
my God.
Yeah. And I'm just like a young teenager,
That made you
kind of
gay.
like, well, I mean, I had these thoughts in my head, and then after seeing that movie, I was like, no, I don't want to be that. I don't want to be that. So I was like, no. I've never seen my dad so mad at his sister, my aunt. And he was so fucking mad. He's like, what is wrong with you? She's like, well, I didn't know what it was about. He's like, well, once it started, you did. You can't believe you took my sister was probably 12 and I was 14. She got in trouble.
Oh, Lord. I saw Brokeback Mountain between my grandma and my mom in Orange County because, it was an Academy Award nominated film, so we had to see it. And then there was the scenes, and it was like, and then my grandma was like, oh, I know.
The scene with the spit.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Well, my mom's so funny because the parodies, she really wanted to watch the variety show. And I was like, I don't know if you're going to, I'll tell you what she's like, I'll tell you which parts you can watch. She's like, just send me the links. I know what your shtick is. She's like, and I just tell myself that it's the character. Like Sherry Vine, the character's a whore and singing about sucking dick, not her sweet angel son.
But it's funny how you layer it because it's it's the superstar singing these kind of songs, and then sometimes we see it under the guise of like being retro, and so it's like sweet and cute almost.
Well, I get asked to do like corporate stuff all the time. They're like, please don't do dirty. I'm like, you just have to understand. I was like, first of all, at the minute people might be a little uptight, and 10 seconds into the song, they're like, oh, this is so dumb that it's okay to laugh because it's just silly. I'm not making fun of anybody except for myself. It's all self-deprecating humor. And yes, some of them are like a little filthier than others, but for the most part, they're just really immature stupid, silly bathroom humor songs that.
It's funny that you say that because I think the popularity of your videos that still get views and views and views is that I think it's very smart. And we know, like, actual camp humor has to be very smart. John Waters knew exactly what camp was and set the level here. We've confused kitsch with camp. That it can't just be silly fart jokes. I think your parodies actually insist that you have some intelligence, which I think is why that they're so successful. It's not just a silly parody. It's like, no, it's like we're going to pretend that we're silly, but then we're saying this and we're rhyming this and we're assuming that you have a brain to put this together.
Yes, I mean, yes. I just kind of naturally want to dismiss everything, but no, there's work involved.
What do you think? What are the basic foundational elements to a good parody? Because we know, especially in today's technology, everybody's filming something with their iPhone. And so it's like, here's my parody of blah. And then you're like, oh my Lord.
Yeah.
What makes a good parody?
I mean, I don't know. I look at Jackie Beat and I think that she's the smartest. Like, she's just so smart and so fast, and she's a great joke writer, and that's not really what I do. And then I look at Lady Bunny, who is to me the funniest person in the whole world, on the opposite end of the spectrum, like just so stupid and nonsense, but the funniest. And to me, like the two of them, like the funniest kind of parody artists. And I don't know. I do spend a lot of time, surprisingly, for some people might be surprised to hear that, but like I break down, I get the original lyrics and I do a count of like, this is how many syllables are in each line and da 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 da. So like I really do that kind of deconstructive homework, and then I get on rhymezone.com and like, how many words can I find that rhyme with dick?
Trump.
And so I think my most successful videos, certainly the Lady Gaga ones, that just was timing. That back when Bad Romance, the release of Lady Gaga's Bad Romance video was an event, which doesn't happen anymore with music videos. Right. That was an event. In 2 days, Entertainment Tonight. In 2 days, Lady Gaga releases her new. It was,
and it wasn't just a scroll through on Instagram like 10-day countdown. No, it was everywhere in the media.
It was an event, and I was like, okay, the song was already, would be released. I could get the lyrics. I have already written this, and I'm sitting there waiting. I've got dancers ready, costume people. We're ready. Like, the minute that video, I could watch that video, I was like, here, we're shooting it we have to shoot it the next day and have it out the next night. We have to be first.
Yeah.
So
you write it in less than 10 days.
Oh, yeah. I mean, I locked myself in. It's funny, I had this conversation with Randy Rainbow, who does the same thing. It's like, sequester yourself. Something happens on the news or whatever, and he locks the door. He turns his phone off. He writes it. He records it. He shoots the video. He edits it, and he's got it up in a day.
Wow.
I mean, that's hard work. And, we're in West Hollywood. There's a lot of people that come here with big dreams and like, oh, I'm going to be an influencer and I'm going to be a singer and I'm going to have a parody. It's going to be funny. And then you actually have to do the quality work. And it's like, I don't want to do all this. Right. And when you're talking about dissecting that language, it's because our heartbeats, our ears just respond. That's what Shakespeare is. It's a rhythm to all of the prose.
Absolutely.
So rap is Shakespeare.
So sometimes I hear parodies by queens or whatever, and I'm like, girl, you got to at least follow the outline of the song, the original song. Otherwise, it just doesn't make sense. And then someone comes along like Willem and Detox and Vicky, who just raised the bar.
Totally.
My videos look, like they cost $10 because they did. And it was just like I was lucky to have a team, a group of people who highly creative and just were like, let's do this. We're having fun. And then they came along and really raised the bar. And again, like the Chick-fil-A one, it was like timing. This is something that's going on in the news. It's very topical.
Still played at every bar.
Yeah, and they just got on it immediately. So not only is it topical, it's funny, it looks good, it sounds great. that's how you do a good video.
Well, the biggest through line is actual talent. You can't just want to be funny. You can't just want to be a viral star. You actually have to have the talent and the passion. Did you ever do theater in school?
I did not. I was a band kid.
What instrument did you play?
The flute. No.
No, but I was in love with a flute player. He was so
course you
cute.
were.
What did you play?
The clarinet. Like, that's anymore, Butch.
That's a gay boy.
I
like,
loved
I don't
it.
want to do anything. I guess I'll play the clarinet. Oh, my Lord. I bet you look cute in your like little uniform, though. Did you want to like redesign them?
I like my little uniform.
Yeah.
Yeah, I was in the marching band.
Oh my God, I want to see those photos.
Yeah, me too. So, Sherry Vine, what was the defining moment? You're like, you know what? I'm going to pack up my bags and I'm heading to New York.
To New York?
Yeah.
I was living here for the first time, and because I went to USC for graduate school.
I did not know that.
I got a master's in fine arts.
I did not know that.
Yeah.
Like I said, we think we know so much about you, but we really don't know the beginning details.
I was at USC getting a Master of Fine Arts, and that's where I started doing drag. One of our guests, every semester there was a guest director and teacher who was just there for a semester. And like one semester we had Anna Devere Smith, who's this brilliant actress, probably know. And she pulled me aside one day and she was like, "You're going to have a very hard time here in Hollywood. You don't fit any type. You're not a leading man. You're not going to be like casting a Tom Cruise. You're not really nerdy. You're not really weird. You're going to have a very hard time. You need to create your own path." And I really listened to that and was like, okay. And I started kind of experimenting and doing monologues that were written for women. And I wasn't in drag yet. I was doing because I would read Streetcar Named Desire and I was like, I want to play Blanche.
Yeah.
That's the good part. And she was like, I think you're onto something. Explore that. And so I started doing drag just for fun. And my best friend from Maryland, who had gone to Chicago and then moved to New York, Douglas, was like, I'm going to start a theater company. I'm writing this play and I want you to play the mother. And I'm like, okay. And I was like, I'm just going to go to New York to do this show and then come back to LA and become the movie star that I'm meant to be. And that was more shocking moving to New York from here for my family and everyone than being gay or doing drag or anything. Because my entire life was like on this path to get to LA. I was going to be a movie star, period. And after USC, I had like commercial agent, a theatrical agent, a movie agent. I was doing really well. I did an equity show at Mark Tabor Theater. I mean, like everything. It was like on that path. And I was like, no, I'm going to move to New York and be a drag queen. It was my calling.
But I love that, and I've had this conversation so many times with actors this last week because nobody knows what the hell's going on after COVID, and it's to say yes. It's to just say yes and put yourself out there and don't restrict what kind of vision you have for your career because you just don't know. But the first time you did drag was actually in LA, called Sorry Wrong Number. It was a one-act play.
That's the first time that I did something like that. Yes, I was roommates with Candace Kane. And
who's also on the Sherry Vine Variety Show.
Yes, she is. And we had just started kind of dressing up and going out for fun. And then I was like, I was doing this play out of drag, and this woman in the show sang this torch song called Black Coffee. And it was this really, her version that she had orchestrated was real torch, soul, like wrenching. And I was like, I want to sing that song so bad. I was like, no one wants to see some skinny gay guy sing this. I said, I'm going to do it in drag. And that's how actually how it started. And I met Jackie like 5 minutes after first time I ever did drag. And that's how it started. So I Wrong Number, though, was the first time I was like, I'm going to do something theatrical as Sherry Vine.
I think your drag really captures the original female impersonators, which is something very different than what drag is. The female impersonators had a different energy about them, and it was about I don't want to say it was more rooted in like character-driven personalities, but you capture what's happening now in drag, and you still have that energy of female impersonations were so highly regarded, but it's very different than what the drag that we see now.
Yeah, it's funny you should say that because Bianca lent me this book. It was a book written, it's not an autobiography, but it's a biography about Charles Pierce, who I'm a huge fan of. And in it, he talks about being a female impersonator and hating being called a drag queen. And I always felt kind of the opposite, to be honest. I've always considered myself a drag queen. I don't have an issue with that. When I first started Theater Couture in New York City, some very prominent drag performers, I'm not going to say who, but would say, you need to call yourself Keith Levy and not be a drag queen. You're doing theater. You just happen to be playing the female role. And I was like, I love drag and I love going to drag shows, and I don't see anything negative about being a drag queen. And I refused that. And I was like, no, I'm Sherry Vine when I'm on stage. I'm not Keith Levy playing this. I'm not a female impersonator. I don't want to. There's no illusion that this is actually a female. I'm not impersonating a female. This is just a character who presents as female, maybe. But do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? I'm not a female impersonator.
What I love about watching you perform, though, is you're performing all your own material, and you're so witty and you're so smart up there and like so funny. And it's not like a lot of like these new queens. They just get up there and lip sync and go out in the audience and get dollars, and that's it.
Okay, so let's talk about this. And this goes kind of in the conversation. Female impersonation at that time was considered such a highly skilled. It was different. Straight audiences were going to see female impersonators because there was that skill in that craft. You have been in the business for 30 years. You've seen the takeoff of Drag Race for the last 10 years now.
Yep.
But now it's like on VH1, and now it's on every channel, and now drag queens are hosting mainstream shows. What is your take on the evolvement of drag today? Do you think it's become too commercial?
I have had this conversation with many people, and I am thankful for the commercialization of drag because it does spill over to us who have not been on Drag Race. I think Drag Race has legitimized drag as an art form because in the 90s, it wasn't. It was still fringe. Right. You're in some dirty bar, and it's mostly gay crowd in the audience, and it was really hard to make money. You had to work 7 nights a week to pay rent. And what Drag Race has done, on the positive side anyway, is it has legitimized drag as an art form. And now there's TV and movies and a chance to have your own variety show that would not have maybe existed 20 years ago.
To Andrew's point, though, we don't see the drag queens able to write their own material. We're not able to see them sing in their own voice. We're not able to see them MC.
Some.
Right. Sorry.
Few and far between.
I'm generalizing. And they're not able to command an MC, a red carpet, or, their own one-person show. And so it has become about the outfits. Which is kind of a little empty for me because, I want to see the artist with everything. Is that kind of hard for you to see as well? It's like, God, I've done all this work, and these queens get up in a gown that somebody else made, by the way. Their makeup is done by somebody else. And look.
Well, it's a weird position to be in. I've had this conversation with Jackie, Coco Peru, Varla Jean Merman, us queens who are all started together and 30 years later are all still performing. And we have had this conversation, and I don't think any of them would say if Drag Race had been around 20 years ago, I would have crawled through glass to get on that show. I mean, come on. It's like this amazing launching pad into a viable career. But now there's, the 14 seasons or whatever, there's hundreds of them. You have to have now the substance to persevere.
Yes.
I agree with that because there's been so many on that show. So it's like you kind of just get lost in the crowd unless there's something extraordinary about you.
Right. And when you have a Bianca Del Rio, Alaska, Jinx, Ben, they all were performers before Drag Race. They would be doing this if they weren't ever on Drag Race. So that's different than some queen who's maybe like looks really pretty on Instagram and now is a star or whatever. They don't have an act. Okay, there's nothing wrong with that. It's a reality TV show. That's what it is. But I do think that it's been great to see people who are super talented get to now be world famous and do their show. Look how hard Alaska works. I mean, my God. Every time I look at her Instagram or whatever, I'm like, oh no, she's doing a Gaga show. Now she's doing a Dolly Parton show. Now
It's
she's
another
doing
mugshot.
her Golden Girl stuff. So it's like that's what I mean. Like Bianca had been doing it for 20 years before Drag Race. So those queens would, like I say, without Drag Race, would still be doing it.
And to your point, go ahead.
I mean, I think it's good that it's been exposed to a wider audience as well. Like, there's straight people that would have never have watched drag queens or been into drag culture. Like, when you go to DragCon, or when these before pandemic, the majority of the people were straight women that went there, and they were fans of these drag queens.
It's also for that a boy on some farm and some, there's nobody around and he doesn't have the language, and he's seeing this show being touted as like, yes, all these celebrities are loving the show and it's on cable, you can watch it. It's for that person as well, for that LGBTQ youth.
Absolutely. And I think to the credit of people like Alaska and Bianca and Jinx, all these queens, they like and want to work with people like Varla, Coco, me, and Jackie. I think that I don't want to use the word respect. I mean, I was friends with Bianca for years before she was on Drag Race, so we have a history. But someone like Alaska and Jinx, who I didn't know, that they were like, oh yeah, I loved your videos or whatever, and I was like, oh, would you want to do something? Oh yeah, that's anything you want, and that has then benefited us. There's a part of that has allowed Jackie, me, Varla, all to like continue. And I had this conversation with Jackie maybe like 5 or 6, it was like 6 years ago, where all of a sudden we weren't getting booked in bars anymore. Period. Like they only wanted Drag Race queens, and I was like, what am I going to do?
Yeah.
What am I going to do? Am I done? And then I was like, you know what? I never started drag as a bar. Working in a bar was not the goal of when I started drag. I need to go back to my roots. I'm a theater queen, comedy queen,
a 90s New York City queen, which
Yes.
is so different.
And that's when Jackie and I were like, let's do the Golden Girls live on stage. Let's do Battle the Bitches. And I was like, yes, and I'm going to put more focus on not YouTube videos, but in trying to get a TV show off the ground. And so that kind of really inspired us and pushed me into that path now. I actually feel like now, 30 years later, I'm more on the path that I started out on.
And what I love about the Sherry Vine Variety Show is that mashup is we see veterans who have paved the way, and then we see some of the newbies and working together to create this, and that you work so well together. We've gotten in a weird culture where we're socially hating each other on Instagram and all that. We can't wait to tear somebody down, or we're jealous. Even it happens in the LGBTQ podcast world. It's like, oh, well, you got booked for that show. And it's like, if we all succeed, we all succeed.
Yeah.
And that's what I really get from your show and from the camaraderie you have with Jackie Beat and Mario Diaz. I mean, these are friends you've had for years and years. And we look at friends that we've made in the last couple of years. It's like, people are like, what do you do? Oh, okay. And it's like, gimme.
Right.
Yeah. No, they're family.
And so I love, what do you think the younger generation of newbie drag queens can learn from the veterans that have paved the way?
Well, one, have an act.
Well, there you go.
Have an act. And yeah, it's just so much easier to be friends with people and to be nice.
That's true. And I feel like a lot of like the younger people, they expect things to happen overnight.
Yeah.
Like, I want
Entitlement.
Or just because they're pretty.
Entitlement.
I'm going to be a designer. Well, did you go to school? Did you study anything in fashion, pattern making, like any technical skills?
Right.
Oh no, I'm just going to do this. Okay, good luck.
I remember Queens when Bianca was first on Drag Race. All of a sudden, Queens were trying to just be mean on stage. Like, they thought they were being comical, but it wasn't. I was like, honey, Bianca writes material. She sits and writes this. She works it. Then she workshops it. I've traveled, I've done like 5 tours with her where I watch her and she gets up at 7 a.m. and she's on that bus writing, and I'm like, girl, take a break. And she's like, no, I'm good. This is how I relax. So it's not just getting up there and being like, you're ugly. I mean,
It's not funny.
It's not funny, and there's a talent to it.
I think this is also part of the Bravo TV culture where you say like a sassy, mean one-liner and then you're a meme. And you think, oh, I'm famous now. It's like, no, that's not. Well, and you must go through this is like in your industry, people want to tear you down or whatever. And it's like, I'm doing my job. I'm supporting the community.
Right.
How do you deal with haters?
I think you just don't get caught up in it. Like you said, I'm doing my thing. I'm working. I'm supporting the community.
I mean, it's like, I'm doing my job. What are you doing?
The majority of my employees are LGBTQ+.
That's so cute. Sherry Vine, we got some questions from Instagram. What would you do for Snatch Game?
Well, my first choice.
You could play yourself, by the way. You'd be like, I'm an icon. I could literally do myself.
That would be easy. Oh, my first choice would be Blanche, of course, Blanche Devereaux.
Yes.
But I think I'd have to do Rue McClanahan because you can't do intellectual property characters.
I did not know that.
Yeah, so you can't do Blanche Devereaux. You'd have to be Rue McClanahan.
I have to tell you, Rue McClanahan's autobiography is so eye-opening.
Ooh, I want to read that.
You have to. I'll send it to you. And she signed it at the West Hollywood bookstore when it was there. She was a little tipsy at 10 in the morning, which was fabulous.
Love it, even better.
Love it. She has a very interesting life. She was from that old school, you perform, you say yes. And she did. She was married quite a few times. She was a little Blanche.
I love it.
What challenge would you add to Drag Race? That's another question.
Challenge?
Like if you really want to be like...
I don't think they've done parody writing.
Because it's usually been written for them, like the music videos
give
and
them
all
one song, the same song, and everybody has to write their own parody.
It's not easy, though.
No, it's not.
It's a science. That's why
a science.
we have so much bad stuff, and that's why the cream rises to the top. That is such a good challenge.
It would be fun. And then they could have people like me and Jackie on as the coach.
Sherry Vine, do you think we should be more PC with our comedy?
No. That's how I honestly feel. I understand, and there are certain things that you can't say now that you could say 20 years ago, and I respect that, of course. It's always evolving, and you have to evolve. Does that mean that? But no, my answer is no, and I really, really resent these kind of cancel police.
We've talked about this we're not going to talk about that today because we've talked about it before. But you kind of address it in the Sherry Vine variety show where you're like, ladies and gentlemen, and Jackie's like, you can't say that anymore. It's like, folks. You're like, okay, folks. And then the show goes on. It's like, okay, you acknowledge what was happening. You're still Sherry Vine, and Jackie Beats still Jackie Beats.
Yes. I think that you can acknowledge things like that with a little slight, a little bit of sensitivity, because the director, John Mark, at one point was like, are you sure you want to do that? I'm like, yeah, I'm pretty sure. And because I said, you just have to trust me that it's going to come off kind of comical but at the same time sincere. Like, why can't it be both?
Well, and Margaret Cho, she came on the show and talked about that. She's like, I'm not changing my act. Am I highlighting things that people are talking about? Yes.
Yeah.
Can we have a conversation about it afterwards? Yes. But this is my shtick, and this is what I do, and it comes from a good place, and it's very sincere. Yes.
Can we go off script for a second?
Yes.
I want to talk about the dick sucking wig.
Andrew Christian, my mom is listening to this.
The DSW?
The DSW.
Not like my DSL, Andrew Christian lip plumper.
Lip plumper.
Yeah, I have DSW.
Like,
That's
how
so
did this come
funny.
about? Like,
Because This is okay. So I go out if I do a show. This is the hair I'm wearing. This gorgeous wig by Billy Lamore. Now I'm not gonna roll around in bed or give a blowjob to some guy. I was like, do not touch this hair. So what I would do is like I'd bring a guy home. I always had an extra one in the bathroom, and I'd bring some guy home and I'd be like, I'm just gonna go to the ladies' room. I'll be right back. And I would swap out wigs, and I was like, take off the good one and put on the dick sucking wig.
So I know some drag queens that are like, no, don't have sexual relations with me in drag or whatever. But you're like, no, it's fine.
Honey, let me tell you.
Dick's a dick, honey.
No, no, but let me
That
tell
is
you,
not true.
the first time it happened was in New York City in the early 90s, and it was, oh my God, he was a god. And I was like, there's no way I would be able to get that. The kind of guys that I'm attracted to, I would never get out of drag. So, yes, I don't mind it at all. And it's fun for me, and I like it, honey. I'm just an old-fashioned
Well, even not in drag, I don't like people to touch my hair at any point in the evening. It's like, this is my Ricky Ricardo. Like, it's stapled in. Like, do not touch it. You do not have that right.
That's gay rule number 1. Do not touch the hair.
Right.
Right.
Yeah.
You'd be surprised how many straight guys think they could run their fingers through this. I'm like, no. First of all, you're going to get stuck or it's going to come off.
So let's talk about this dichotomy between Sherry Vine, the persona, and Sherry Vine, the person. You have been this character for 30 years, and in kind of flashing back to what your early agent whatever said about you never make it on your own. Do you ever feel that the persona has kind of taken over your life, such as people want to have sex with Sherry Vine, they don't want to have sex with me?
No, I mean, look, I could have sex out of drag. And I have, of course I do. And when I have a boyfriend, I'm very monogamous. I actually really enjoy being monogamous. But when I'm not, I enjoy being a whore.
Season 1, episode 1 of the Sherry Vine variety show is like, without a doubt, that's the song.
The
that
difference
opens
is,
it.
look, I'm of a certain age, and I'm fine with how old I am, and I'm fine with how I look for my age. I don't have a problem at all. But if I go on like Grindr, I'm going to be there all night. And if I go on the app that I go on like this, I'm the fucking unicorn. Do you know what I mean? And there's a whole world. I want to make a documentary about it so bad because I really feel like it's one of the unexplored territories of sex and sexuality is straight identifying men who are sexually attracted to this.
You folks, I learned that from the Sherry Vine variety show. You have no idea how this culture is that straight butch men from the military, from whatever, it's not that they envision that it's a woman. They are really into drag queens, cross-dressers. It's a weird subculture. It's not a weird. Sorry, I said the wrong word. It's a definite subculture that's happening all around you, and you have no clue. It's your husbands. It's your bosses. I mean, and it's like that's what they want.
I feel like it's expanding too.
Oh, it's totally
People
expanding.
lose their minds when I'm like, okay, let's look at my how many. I've gotten 150 messages today.
Just in the last hour.
Jesus.
Most of them for Andrew and I. We're like.
Oh, honey, it's insane. I've gotten a lot of the girls on this app, and they're like, oh, my God, it's out of control. And I've talked to some of the guys, I'll be like, well, I'm just curious, what is it? And they're like, well, I just like to do other things sexually that I can't do with a cisgender woman, but I'm not attracted to a man. So it's not like this whole, like, they're secretly gay or whatever. No, they're
That's
just,
exactly
everybody's
right.
on the spectrum of bisexual, totally. And this is a perfect example of that. Like, they want to explore things sexually, but they're not, like, attracted to a man. So it's kind of, and I feel that, I look like a slut. So they like the stiletto heels and the nails and the lipstick, they like all that. And it's free.
And to kind of throw some homage to Pose, season 1, they really addressed that.
Yeah. It's very different than being trans.
Yes.
It's very different.
Right.
Now,
Yes,
trans
yes.
women are sexualized, And that's very different. I know that I can have sex with a guy and he leaves and I take this off and everybody's happy and I go to bed. It's not the same. I feel that with trans women, it's very different.
Yes.
So I'm just talking about me.
All right. We are going to play a little Truth or Sip. Kurt, take it away.
Truth or Sip on the Rocks with Alexander.
All right. Let's get to it. So Truth or Sip.
That sounded
Our guests either have to answer the truth or they can take a sip from their cocktail. Andrew, you're up first. What kind of underwear are you wearing right now? Is it one of yours?
Of course it is. Hello.
Well, I don't know. Your underwears are very sexy. I don't know if you're like walking around in Hanes, like, "Wah."
Of course it is.
Okay, what pair are you wearing?
I'm wearing a pair of almost naked, but they're sort of like a mesh, but not quite a mesh.
Oh, I
so
know
they're very
exactly
like
which one.
breathable.
That's so
Maybe we
sexy.
need to see them.
Black.
Black is very slimming. Sherry,
She's trying.
what, and not as a joke, like, not like, oh, Jackie beat, but what drag queen seriously needs a makeover, like, now? Not a joke. Like, you'd be like, oh,
Not a joke.
I love her, but she could use a little tweak.
I'm taking a sip on that one.
I would say Jack. I'm just kidding because
She's been tweaked how many times? How many doctors are like,
she just started putting like this fucking punctuation marks on her nose, like
I don't know why the queens are
exclamation
doing
point.
that.
And
They're doing this weird dot
I
at the
read
end.
her for it. I read
are
her
you
for
Bambi?
it, and first of all, I'm like, Jackie, people rip off your makeup. Why are you doing something that someone else did? And so I'm always
very
reading
true.
her about that. Jackie, please stop putting punctuation marks on your face.
it started popping up on Drag Race, and it's so weird to me. It's like, it's this weird dot at the end, and it's
hate
like,
it.
it's like, are you Bambi? It's like, Bambi is like, oh no. Okay. Sherry, what co-star have you worked with that you don't need to work with again? And it could be on any project. Like, that was fun. Don't need to do it again.
I'm trying to think of someone maybe who's dead. That can throw them under
How about
the
just their
bus.
career is dead?
Well,
I'm gonna have to sip.
Okay.
There's something popped into my head immediately, and I was like, I don't want to be mean.
Somebody you've worked with, you just don't need to work with again. Andrew.
huh?
You too?
Oh, they've been fired already.
Well, that could be.
And I'll sip to that.
Okay. All right.
We'll talk after.
Sherry, what's the least favorite part of the process about doing drag? You're like, oh, I have to do that.
It's always, I always kind of procrastinate starting to get ready.
Really?
And yeah, once I start, I'm so in it, and I love actually taking my time. I don't like to be rushed. That's the only time I don't like it. It takes the fun out of it. And if I can just have time and just kind of like paint and listen to my Ramones while I'm getting ready, then I'm fine. But just getting started is the hardest part.
All right. Andrew, what model of yours has the best body, in your opinion?
That's difficult because they all have kind of.
It doesn't mean like best, like to the public, but like in your opinion, like that's the body. You're like, yeah, that's a good body.
I think Arad has like a presence. Like when he walks into a room, everybody like notices him.
It's because of the pot smell.
That too.
I'm not kidding. He came on the show. We're like, whoa!
I have to see a photo.
He actually he came by the other day and it was like,
Yeah.
ooh,
The devil's
somebody's been
lettuce.
Corey's body is like pretty.
And he's got the cute face,
and he's
got the
sweet, actually. I think
attitude.
he's
oh honey,
really
she's got the
sweet.
attitude.
But it's a sweet. But when she's sweet, she's super sweet. She's like
So
those little
No.
gummies you see on the commercial.
He's bitchy, but he's a sweetheart.
You know, he
He's
came
total
to
sweetheart.
the last show I did in LA before Corona was my birthday show. It was at the Standard. I'm devastated.
Oh,
that
I went
room
there
was
with
good. You were
Corey.
there, yes.
Yeah, we
and
came
he
together.
was so sweet. It was my
Yeah.
birthday. I was whatever. It was
He's
so-
great. He literally drank a whole bottle of vodka on his own when
I'm
he was on
sure.
the show last.
I'm sure.
I'm not kidding. It was the whole bottle.
And the funny thing is, if Corey's sober, he's like this little mouse in the corner. But
Yes,
once you
he's
start
very shy.
drinking, she
Yep.
comes out.
Yes.
Andrew, what model of yours has the best personality, in your opinion?
I would have to say Corey. I like hanging out with Corey.
Sherry,
Yes.
when was the last time you had relations?
What's today? Last night.
Oh.
Oh.
Was it a date or was it just a date?
It was someone that I'd seen once before. He's Ukrainian.
How did you walk in here today?
So that means uncut, obviously.
Obviously.
And big. Okay, Andrew and Sherry, who was an LGBTQ personality this Pride that you're just like over?
Oh, I don't know his name, but that guy from The Bachelor that came out recently.
Oh, he came out to
Who's
get
a
his own show
yeah.
on Netflix.
Who's Republican?
How brave.
Whatever, allegedly. Yeah.
I don't even know, to be honest.
We're going to do this hot topic.
I'm going to sip.
Okay. On our next episode, we're going to have the conversation as to what makes you an activist. Is it just starring in something and getting the awards and walking the red carpet? Okay.
Sometimes.
Sherry, what parody video of yours was the least favorite to make? You're like, oh, God, I'm glad that's done.
There are a couple that never made it to YouTube.
What was one of them?
I did a parody of Christine Aguilera's. What was it? I can't remember now what the original was called. Mine
would
was
love
called
your hair, by the way.
Mommy. And I don't know what I was thinking, but I wrote it, and it was all about like not being able to have a kid, and then doing the video, and I was like, this is horrible. Not only is it not funny, but it's me. It was horrible, and I was like, this will never see the light of day.
You know, that takes a true talent to also know when to say no.
Oh, honey, trust me. Listen, I tell people all the time, they're like, oh my God, your parodies are so fun. I'm like, honey, you're hearing the ones that have made it, survived.
Right.
Like, for every one that's a hallelujah or a shit my pants, there are 10 that I've done once, and then I'm like, oh, Jackie and I did this show where we brought out a paper shredder, and we were like, this whole show is about new material that we've never, ever done. Brand new. We're going to test it, and you, the audience, are the judge. And I would sing something and be like,
That's hilarious.
that will never be done again.
Well, it's funny because at Oscars you did a show just very recently. You're like, it's all new material. We're just gonna do it.
That was a lie.
Oh, sold out. I
It's
get it.
true, though, because like when these artists die, they always release like all these songs like, oh, from the archive and this and that. No, these were the songs that never made it onto the albums. These are the ones that like dropped out. It's like when I'm designing clothes, like
Well, okay, so
What
that's,
makes
design
it
all
and
this
what
stuff.
that's
doesn't.
your truth or sip then. Is there a product that you guys have put out in the past that you're like, now, why did we make that?
there's so many. Where do I start?
But I think that's the beautiful thing about being an artist. Like you
Yeah.
said, you know, that's part of the art is knowing what you can do, what you can't do, experimenting, stepping outside of the box, knowing when it works and knowing when it doesn't. Hallelujah is a perfect example of the opposite of that, because I do Hallelujah to Hallelujah. And
I
that's
love that one.
probably the most popular, most requested, the one that goes over the best. It's a hit. But when I first had the idea for it, I was like, no one in a bar is going to want a 4-minute Hallelujah. You know, it's too slow, it's too down, whatever. And then I put in one verse that I wrote into a medley, and people were losing their minds. I was like, oh, maybe it needs to be a whole thing. So it can go both ways, where I really doubted that one, and then I was like, oh, that's the one.
It's the same thing with what I do. Like you think it's not gonna sell. Now, oh well, let's just make it and we'll see. And then it's like the bestseller.
Okay, so what's one of those products? Oh, God. I mean, I love getting your daily emails, but sometimes there'll be a product there. I'm like, what?
Okay, we did this one thing which was called Active Slim, which was like a pair of underwear with a like kind of girdle attached to it. that,
I
like-
would buy that in 2 seconds. Give it to me
too.
now. So Spanx has just released their man's version. It's twice the price as any Spanx that they've ever sold in their life. I'm like, how dare you? That's a hate crime. I didn't know that.
The funny
Do you
thing
still
is,
have any left in the factory?
the funny thing is though, like once I discontinue something, some people it's like the end of their life. Like,
Yeah.
You have fans that literally read the blog every day, look at the website every day, because you give a lot of content to the fans.
Oh, honey, his TikTok was giving me life for the past year and a half. And it's funny because I'll call him Andrew's my TikTok tech man. I'm like, how do I do this? And he's like, oh, girl, I'll call you and talk you through it.
yeah, I was trying to coach her during the pandemic when we weren't.
I'm still not
together.
going to do it. Okay, so what were the products that you're like, can't believe we did that?
And the funny thing is, like, even I see these people posting things like, oh, the Andrew Christian Almost Naked is back in, and like, it's kind of like these these Trader Joe's people that follow it and like post about it and like.
The only thing I posted about for Trader Joe's was $2 Chuck when they went to $3. How dare you? We're in a recession. Anyway, okay, so what's one of the products that you're like?
The Active Slim.
Oh, okay. Just, do you have like 2 pairs left?
I would love to try it right.
I still have the pattern. You can make you a pair.
Oh, perfect. Okay, final truth or sip. Sherry, what celebrity have you slept with? Could be a D celebrity, could be an A celebrity. We know there's
one, and there's no way I would say who it was, but there's one.
Is it an A-lister?
No.
B-lister?
At one time.
From what decade?
The 80s.
God, everybody's dead from that. TV or film?
Both.
It's Tom Selleck. All right, that was our
Was
truth.
not
That
Tom
was our
Selleck.
truth or sip. All right, you guys, I want to show you folks, I want to show you the Sherry Vine variety show trailer just to give you a little taste of what is happening on this season of the Sherry Vine variety show. Go ahead.
Shenanigans, hijinks, comedy, everything. Right here at the Sherry Vine Variety Show.
1, 2, 3, go!
Cuz no one thinks you're funny. No one.
Oh my God, guys, look!
Turn and burn, bitch. What?
Oh, God, she's hitting me in the head with Not again!
And I have to tell you, watching it, it's truly a variety show. You get the skits, you get the songs, and you just have a really good time.
Thank you. I just hope people watch it.
Where can we see it?
It's on. Okay, if you're in Canada, you can watch it on Out TV. If you're in the UK or Ireland, you can watch it on Fruit TV. If you're in the United States,
They literally have a channel called Fruit TV in Ireland. What
Yes.
are you talking about? We're on Fruit TV.
Fruit TV. If you're in the United States, you have to. It's a little bit It's a little process, but I think it's worth it. You have to go to Apple TV and download the Out TV app onto Apple TV, and you can watch it on Apple TV.
I was drunk off my ass, and I was still able to do it.
See,
and
there you
it
go.
played it right there, and
It's
plays it
coming.
through.
It's coming to Australia, New Zealand, and South Africa in July, and then they're still trying to get it in other territories. But that's it right now. It was 3 years to make this happen, and it was my dream, and I really just hope people watch it because I have so many ideas already for season 2. I think we can do more because we won't be under lockdown. So please watch it. And I have to give a shout out to JustFor.Fans, JustFor.Fans.
A family of JustFor.Fans.
That's right. I have my own page on there, and we are every week posting exclusive content just for JustFor.Fans, like extended interviews from the variety show.
It's so fun to watch. And I venture to say, even though it's a little naughty, I think it's very family friendly, by the way.
There's only one or two things. I think this one that came out today, the song I my friend Joel composed the music, and I wrote the lyrics. And I really wanted to do like a very sincere ballad about blowjobs. It's called "I Want to Suck You Now."
It's a very serious subject.
It's
and a lot of us are not
romantic.
doing it right.
And that's the one where I said to Mom, I was like, I don't know about my mom. And she was like, I'll be fine. I was like, okay. And she was like, oh, it's funny. So.
All right. This weekend, you're going to be at Casita del Campo playing Blanche Devereaux.
No, not this weekend.
Oh,
This
what's the
Sunday's
date?
with Jackie.
Oh, okay.
Jackie and I are doing Battle of the Bitches this Sunday at Casita, and it is the inaugural show of the reopening of Casita at Cavern Club at Casita. And it's a test run, actually, for the Golden Girls, which we're doing the whole month of July 9th through July 25th. If you want to see us doing the Golden Girls, get tickets immediately because we put the tickets on sale last Tuesday, and it's almost sold out.
Yeah.
I'm surprised it's not sold out already.
Me too.
It's literally like Saturday at 3 o'clock.
Yeah.
So, but don't wait if you want to see it.
And for SoCal, Casita del Campo, the basement is home to some of the most fabulous, pushing the envelope entertainment you'll ever see because it's like, we're in a basement, we're going to do this.
Yeah. It's my favorite. People are like, you guys, you do so many Golden Girls shows. They're always sold. You should move to a bigger theater. We're like, no.
There's a certain magic.
No, it's magic. Exactly.
So we did an episode where we took a witch and she's also psychic into the basement of Casino del Campo. You know, there's been deaths at that basement.
There's a ghost.
Yeah, and it's very well known. And then she was able to pick up stuff that we looked up the history later. It was burned down, and there was
There was a fire,
So,
and
you know.
allegedly someone died. Yeah.
All right, so we're gonna. But you do play Blanche Devereaux, so we're gonna quiz you a little bit on your Blanche Devereaux.
Oh no. Okay.
What is Blanche's maiden name?
Hollingsworth.
Perfect. That was easy. What did Blanche call her father? Easy.
Big Daddy.
What do Blanche's initials spell?
Bed. But there's another episode where it's
Yes.
different.
Oh God, you're so good. Tell the audience why.
I can't remember what the other one is, but bed I remember because we did that episode. But it's something B something out. I can't remember.
Where was Blanche when she found out her husband died? What was she doing?
Can I call Alaska? I don't know. Alaska knows everything.
Not how to blend.
And she's like the Golden Girls trivia book. I don't know.
She was getting a pedicure.
Oh.
And she stumbled over and she was like, God damn it. All right. Her sister asked her to give her what?
I do know this. Oh. Shoot. I can't remember. That's one we did that episode, I'm pretty sure. What is it?
A liver.
Oh, no, I wouldn't have said that. No, okay, I didn't know that.
Oh, a kidney. Sorry.
A kidney.
A
Okay,
kidney. Yep.
okay.
What bar would Blanche frequent very often?
Is it the Rusty Nail?
The Rusty Anchor.
Anchor. Rusty Anchor.
All right. So we have a choice. I have some more questions about your career, or we could do hot topics.
Oh, whatever you want. I didn't know if you wanted to get more scandal. Whatever. I'll go wherever you want to go. Andrew?
We've heard.
Andrew, I'm going to follow your lead.
What would you like to do?
I could hear some more scandalous things.
All right. So let's do it. We know
If
that
you're willing to go there.
Girl,
If you're
please.
offering.
That's all I'm offering, yes.
What advice would you have for some of these newer queens hitting the scene? You're like, girl, you're just not doing this right. Do this. What would be your first advice? Point.
Well, I say this all the time, and I said it earlier. It's like have an act and have your own act. Find something that you're passionate about doing, that you're good at, and then exploit it. Really, like you have to put the work into it to get it back.
What do your fans tell you the most?
Oh my God, your legs.
They don't say, thank you for being a spokesperson for us.
No.
It's the legs.
Usually the legs. I was like, it's not even like, oh my God, you're so funny. It's usually, oh my God, your legs. And then, oh, and you're funny. Oh, the legs, I guess.
One of the craziest stories you have from being on the road.
Oh boy, there's so many. I could write a book just about I could write one book about touring the world with Joey Arias.
Oh.
What?
Girl,
I would like to be a
so
fly on
many
that
stories.
wall.
So many good stories.
We have
Oh
4
my God,
minutes
talk about-
left.
talk
So
about
why don't you tell
scandal.
us 4 minutes of stories?
My favorite Joey Arias story is we met this guy in Berlin, heterosexual. He was from, I believe, Norway.
Heterosexual from Norway, please.
Yes. And we somehow enticed him back to the hotel, and we're in Joey's hotel room, and like his clothes are off. I am sucking his dick, and she's eating his ass. So his legs are in the air.
Sorry, Mom.
Sorry, Mom. And his penis is here, and his balls are here. So the only thing separating Joey and I are like his balls. And she looks up at me this close, and she goes, "Girl," like he's not there. "Girl, his ass tastes like shit, and
Oh,
I
God.
love it."
Oh, God.
Ew.
Well, I'm sure she was kidding, but she just said it to make, one, I think she said it to get me out of the room because I literally started laughing so hard I was like, bye, and I left. So I don't think it was literal as much as it was just Joey being Joey. That's one of my favorite stories.
You said, let's get to know you a little bit better. That is not what I had envisioned.
And then I could write another book about being on the road with Bianca Del Rio. It's not as salacious, but it's certainly just good times. And I'm going to be doing my 5th tour opening for her in October and November for 5 weeks.
What is the most un-Sherry Vine thing that you do in daily life?
Well, I'm kind of I work out very, very hard every day, sometimes 3 times a day, because I'm old and I've got to keep
that's
this
not
body.
normal.
3 times.
Yeah, I do like a power and 1 hour power walk in the morning. That's what the first thing I have to do to wake up. If I get up at 7 in the morning, I'm out the door. I'm power
What if you have
bottom
a
walking.
boy over?
No one stays over that long. I power bottom walk for an hour to get my coffee. I come home, blah, blah, blah. Later in the day, I do like a half-hour routine with weights, and then I'll usually do like some kind of short yoga or something like that before I go to bed. And
love
I'm a
that.
total Marvel, like, geek nerd.
This whole, like, gay geek nerd, like, you just perked up, has become this big voice, and Marvel's listening because now there's LGBTQ characters that are coming out. What is it about the Marvel universe that you love so much?
I think that they're done very well. And if I'm going to go see a movie or like not work, because I'm such a workaholic, it's really hard for me to like let go. Like I'm writing or I'm coming up with ideas or a parody or something like, I feel like I have a lot to say and I want to say everything. So I kind of get obsessed. And so if I go, I don't want to see a naturalistic movie. I don't want to see a horror movie where people are being tortured. So what I love about Marvel is that you get the costumes and it's fantasy and it's aliens and whatever. And I love vampire movies because I want to be taken away from reality. Does that make sense? I want to escape
Yeah.
it.
Oh,
It's
of
like
course.
I
total
totally
escapism.
get
And
that.
I love that.
I love that. I just don't want to spend 5 hours in the theater watching.
I do.
Well, if it's Chris Evans, Andrew, what is a question you've always wanted to ask Sherry Vine?
I don't know. Well, I wanted to know about the DSW.
Now you do.
Now me too. Now it's going to be another song.
Because I didn't know about the DSW. I was very intrigued.
I love it. And the guys are like, whatever. Like, it's just like, Sherry Vine, being interviewed so many times over your 30 years, what is a question that you wish people would start asking you?
That's a really good question. I've never even thought of that. I don't know. I really don't know. That's so funny. I think that this was really fun because we did go some places that I don't talk about a lot. Like being bullied or whatever. I don't usually talk about that kind of stuff. And even like graduate school and all that. We don't really talk about a lot. So that was refreshing. And we touched on Drag Race, but it wasn't all about Drag Race.
Because...
And I'm not saying it's not even a read or a shade. It's just...
No, because Sherry Vine is a person with all of this hard work to see the minutes that we see on YouTube, to see the half-hour show that we see, the variety show, not knowing that this whole history is behind this show and the hard work.
Thank you.
So this Pride Month, hats off to you. Because what you do makes us all able to do what we do.
I appreciate that.
All right, so single?
Me?
Yeah.
Right now, she's single.
Right now? Is it going to change like in a day?
I don't know.
When he comes home or what?
And I think it's great what you do because, like with your videos and everything, you reach out to these kids that live in these podunk small towns that have no access to gay culture, and you're the only outlet they have.
The best compliment I've ever gotten, I was performing in Pittsburgh, and some guy came up to me in tears. I was like, oh, dear. And he's like, I just want you to know that I lost my job. I got evicted. I'm living with my parents. And you made me laugh for a half hour. I didn't think about any of that. I was like, oh, there you go.
That makes it all worth it.
That's why I do it.
Well, this has been another episode, if you can believe it.
So much fun.
It's always just it's a conversation we have. We never know what's going to happen.
I love that.
Andrew Christian, tell our audience where you want them to find you and follow you.
On social media?
Everywhere.
Everywhere?
Yeah.
Oh, there's so many. Instagram, Andrew Christian INTL. TikTok, the Andrew Christian.
You're all about the TikTok.
It's so much fun. You have to get into it.
No,
it's
I
so
refuse.
much fun.
To see him dancing and stuff brings me joy because you come to sometimes seem really shy, and then I'm like, he's dancing. It's so
and
fun.
I don't even care. Like they want to see the guys with the bodies and the muscles, but I get on there.
Oh,
and
they
do
want to
stuff
see you,
that-
girl.
I want to see you dance. That's
Yep.
why I'm on there.
I love it.
All right. Sherry Vine, where can our audience find and follow you?
I direct everybody to sherryvine.com because it is a one-stop destination. It has all the social media links. It has the links for the variety show, a tour schedule. Like I said, I've got so much going on. Thank you. God, I'm so excited. This summer after Golden Girls, I'm doing Iceland Pride, a little East Coast tour, and then I'm on tour with Bianca. I've got a bunch of shows with Jackie around the United States. So sherryvine.com.
I love that we're celebrating
it.
Pride Month. There we go. Look at this picture,
Where
by
did
the
you
way.
The outfit, yes.
I mean, this is like Top
Living.
Gun. This is like
Look at the eyebrows.
But look at the crop top. You're showing a little,
crop
you're
top.
showing like
Yeah.
a little belly.
Okay, I thought it was so cool. You got to picture that's very suburban Maryland, like not even in the city of Baltimore.
No,
whatever.
I
That
like
is
it. It
the
had like the little like
suburbs.
buttons on it.
everything-
Oh my God, I
was going
thought
on.
I was so cool, and my mom was like, "You look like an idiot," and my dad was like, "What if he wants to go out looking like an idiot? Let him go out looking like an idiot."
Well, that's another show, folks. Happy Pride. It's always a grab bag of fun. Big thank you to our fabulous guest, my engineer, Kurt.
Bye, Kurt.
I'm still no, can't do it. Our in-studio producer, Michael Vega. Our intern, Alexis Mendez. Our researcher, Mama Rose. Please like, share, subscribe, so we can continue bringing this show to you for free at OnTheRocksRadioShow.com. Stay happy, stay healthy, stay sexy. Most of all, stay tipsy. We'll see you next week.
This has been another episode of On the Rocks. Tweet me and slide into my DMs on Twitter and Instagram at On the Rocks On Air. Find everything On the Rocks for free at OnTheRocksRadioshow.com. Subscribe, like, review, and share. Until next week, stay fabulous.